So right now I'm up to my eyeballs studying MLMs and the marketing of MLMs. And for my book, I actually interviewed some corporate marketers from MLMs, and that's really interesting, but I'm not going to share that with you here. What I am going to talk about is all the combination of coaches and toxic positivity and that connection to MLMs. But for right now, I just want to talk about Tony Robbins. Or I don't want to talk about Tony Robbins, but I'm going to talk about Tony Robbins. So Tony Robbins is kind of a big ticket item as a motivational speaker for conferences for multi-level marketing. And somewhere in my reading, somebody said, you should watch I'm Not Your Guru. And I thought I had read something about that it was balanced. It's not balanced. It's basically a 2-hour infomercial for Tony Robbins. And it's disgusting. One of the first things he did was have a woman break up with her boyfriend on speakerphone, on mic, in front of 2,500 people. One of the other women he worked with, and this was the one that really got to me, was there was a woman who had been part of the cult, the family in Brazil. And if you know Daniela, who wrote the book Uncultured, she was part of that same cult. And Tony Robbins works with her for, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. But this is a woman who has suffered massive trauma, massive sexual abuse. And somehow this guy thinks he's going to cure her in 10 or 15 minutes. Now, what's particularly interesting about this is at the end of his healing her, he asks her to look at 3 men in the audience and look them in the eye to see which one she trusts. And she picks 3. And then he says, these 3 are your uncles. And he tells the men that they're supposed to be in contact with her once a month to make sure she's okay. Now, if you read Uncultured, what you know is that the people who were abusing the women in that cult were called uncles. If you haven't read the BuzzFeed article about Tony Robbins and all the inappropriate things that go on at his weekends, I recommend you take a look. And while the vast majority of people who are in this space, and I've seen a lot of them, are men, it's not only men. I'm looking at you, Marianne Williamson. So if any of you young people are coming on here and suggesting that she run for president, I'm going to tell you that you shouldn't.